Snoop Dogg. He was on a radio interview, and he said he took his grandkids to go see the Lightyear movie, which was a quality movie in my opinion. I'm not gonna lie. But he said that the relationship, the lesbian relationship, the grandson spoke up about it and said, "Grandpa, what does this mean? How did two women have a baby?" Snoop said that he didn't necessarily care for that. He said he wanted to go to the movies to see a good movie, and then just this popped up and said he don't want to be a part of that shit. That was his words. I want to know how y'all feel. Y'all will probably be
We're
won't like
getting
how I feel
real
about it,
homophobic in
but
here.
I, I want to see how y'all feel
Good,
about
because
the
I'm homophobic
inclusion.
too. I'm glad y'all asked. Get that off of my screen. No, I'm just playing. Look, look, I would have been just like Snoop. Look, I don't
Get
know
that
what to
shit off
tell
my
you.
screen.
One of them bitches got the egg, but ain't no chicken. I don't know what to tell you, nigga. Just watch the movie and enjoy
Wow.
it. I don't necessarily, but I don't like it when straight shit neither. If it's too sexual, if it's go too which way, I don't really fuck with it. But shout out to the girls that can get pregnant without no nigga. I don't know. I think it's magic.
Go ahead,
That's what
Ferris. How
Mary
you
did.
feel?
I think a lot of times the new creators are losing the plot, and this is just not even with the LGBTQ shit. I think a lot of times they try to add too much nuance into storytelling when there were plenty opportunities to tell a story without trying to involve so many details. So I'm on his side. You don't need all of that extra to emphasize a point or tell a story, especially when context clues in art is a thing.
Mm, did you see that movie?
I don't need to see that movie to feel that way.
I think that they include family perspective in all Disney movies and
No,
have a
no, no.
background.
That's not my point. My point is, okay, Snow White, not Snow White, what's her name? Cinderella, right? You didn't
Hmm.
get all of the background story of where her mother was or this, that, and the third, or her parents' relationship that got her a stepmother. What you got was where the story started and how the story ended, right? Like the context of that story was not based in her actual relationship when she put on that slipper. The context of that story is like, my home environment is terrible and I got rescued. I used to be rich. I became poor. Now I'm rich again. Even though we got all those other nuances, like, oh, the guy saved her. He's the hero. But that story ended before we got into the intricacies of that fucking relationship.
Yeah, I think the dynamic in that movie was just different. If I remember correctly, they went to a foreign planet and they were and it was talking about like the strain of being away from family. I think that was the movie, or I must be watching another one. But that, like, the strain of family, that was a part of it. And then the black captain and how she rose to get into her position. Like, so the family dynamic was important in the story, right? Even if it was husband, right? That part was important for you to kind of, get a feeling and be emotionally invested in the movie like Disney wants you to always be. And so when I seen it, listen, I don't care. I don't care. Like, if that, I think that's an opportunity to have an open and honest conversation with your kid,
No,
right?
let me let
About
me
what's
let
going
me
on.
say it
I don't
like this,
necessarily give
right?
a fuck.
Let me say it like this, right? When you're talking about the Proud Family itself, because of the dynamic of that show, those little things may be important because you're talking about teenager Penny Proud and the duality of her life and her friendships and things she's doing to navigate her life as a teenager, right? But if you're talking about something like Cadet Kelly or that type of movie, right? Or what is it called? House Party. No, it wasn't House Party. It was Smart House. If you're talking about something like Smart House, the purpose of that movie was talking about a man who had a smart house that was controlling them. So it's like, you telling me that your ex-wife is gay or this, that, and the third, or you're telling me that, they were divorced or they died. Like, I don't need to know the intricacies of that in order to understand the concept of this house. So it's cool if you don't care, but I feel like that's one of the lost arts in a lot of reality TV show and a lot of movies. And I can say the same thing when it comes to like Power versus the Blacklist. The purpose of Power was to show you the intricacies of Ghost and who he was and everything he had to deal with on an everyday basis. The Blacklist was not about who Red Raymondson was sleeping with at all. Like, we didn't even know his sexuality for real.
I was trying to find that whole mom in the whole show.
Correct. Because that was the purpose of the show. To tell you, hey, we're in search of these people. But when you talk about power, it mattered Tasha was cheating. It mattered that Ghost was cheating. It mattered that he was a drug dealer. It mattered how all of that shit mattered. Who his bad friends was, how he grew up, his relationship with his kids. All of those context clues mattered, right? Because of the type of show it was. But the type of show that the Blacklist was, the intricacies of who they was sleeping with, the intricacies of, oh, this is how that happened. That was never the plot of the show.
Yeah, I think adding layers, because I do want to ask, we have people who are in the community in this world. And so I think representation shouldn't necessarily be a bad thing. Now, should they be, hardcore in the motherfucking movie or TV show? No, I think, what's that show with Viola Davis? She was a lawyer. How you get away with murder? There was some
Mm-hmm.
gay scenes in there. I was like, all right, dog. Like, what the fuck are we doing? Right. But just to merely have them there and show a level of togetherness or we're a family, I don't necessarily see a problem in that. Go ahead,
All
Jonay.
right, I'm gonna say it. And I'm prepared for whatever's gonna happen behind this. Since y'all want to have it, add LGBTQIA scenes or imagery to the PG-13, PG whatever listing. Do that then. Since y'all want to have it, it needs to be a part of the disclaimer now. Because
I think I'm having a
no,
different
I know you
conversation.
are. I'm saying this is my point. My point.
I was saying that to
Oh,
the
no,
side.
it's
My
okay.
bad.
It's okay.
Pause.
My point is absolutely positively, y'all gotta start realizing everybody don't want to see that. And if I don't want to see that, and I don't want my kids to see that, then I don't want to see that. Because hold
Jonay,
on,
they don't
But
know
are
how
you?
they
Hold
gonna
up,
no,
get
hold
I
up,
don't,
hold
around
up.
I'm
Do
it.
not
you
doing
not? Do
this.
you not
I'm
want to
not
see it
doing
in
this.
fear that you might turn
No,
gay or
no,
something? Like, what
no,
is it that
no,
makes
no,
you like? What is it?
no. Sometimes people just don't want to
You
see
Jonay, they
that.
scared your
doing
kids
Holly
gonna
Taylor
turn
too
gay or what
bad.
No,
is it?
sometimes, yeah. Some people are, but to me, it's the same thing. Cause I remember when I was younger, right? Uh,
See, think Jonay was
yeah,
gonna
some
answer
people
that.
are. But so this is the thing, right? I remember when I was young, and this is why these conversations be so funny as adults, because I remember what it was like for me as a kid in the 90s, right? As a kid in the 90s, my mom 1000% would let me watch certain stuff. And when it even got close to looking like it was a sex scene, she didn't give a fuck if it was straight sex or not. Close your eyes and turn your head, or she would pause it, or she would fast forward it. Like there was a thing that she still was like, I don't want you seeing that. I don't care if it's something I approve of or not. I don't want you seeing that. So there is still a thing where we want parents to, be able to pick and choose the stuff that their kid watches. And if we want to have representation, that is fine. Like, I don't think that is a problem, but then just put it as a part of the credits and the disclaimer. What's wrong with that? But then people ain't gonna want that. They
Hey,
ain't gonna want the disclaimer either. Oh, just, you should be able
Well,
to get used to,
because
no.
that makes it seem abnormal for people to
It
just like who
is
they
an
like. That makes it
alternative
seem
lifestyle,
abnormal, and it's
but
not.
yes, it is. It's an alternative lifestyle, and we know this.
But those are
And
different
normal
things.
and
so
alternative
So
are
it's
not
alternative,
because
and it's
are not
I'm
it's an
finna
intimate.
drop
alternative
down,
lifestyle.
y'all.
So if it's an
Can
alternative
I? Can
lifestyle,
I?
why,
Here's the
and
thing.
that be
Here's
the
the thing.
thing.
My parents ain't never. I ain't never seen no gay shit a day in my life, and I still ended up gay. So now what?
Exactly. But
Never
again,
in my fucking
but
life
nobody
ever
is
have I
saying
seen no
that.
gay shit.
But this is what y'all are. This is the
Yo,
arguments,
you
and
got
then
me
again,
confused. You said straight.
this is where the
What?
arguments end up getting lost, because no one is saying that. Oh shit! You see this in the show, you're gonna turn gay. But when you ask me, are parents afraid of it? I say yes, and it doesn't mean that that's a valid fear. It just is a real fear, because we wouldn't be having this conversation if it wasn't. My point
So,
Okay, well, how
is,
did your
oh, I'm
mom feel
sorry.
when the nigga got killed in the movie? Did
she
she
didn't
feel okay?
she didn't like
See
some of
that?
that
I
shit.
don't,
Absolutely
but
not.
I
My mom,
don't,
and that's the
Did
thing.
she
My
say, "Oh
mom,
my God, cover your eyes,
yeah, no.
but
First
somebody's
off,
about to die"?
we talk. No,
we
see, but
don't
that's the
have to go
thing.
at that point because I don't think that that's the resounding fear. I think the fear is uncomfortable conversations. I think parents don't want to have certain conversations with their kids outside of
Okay.
them presenting that conversation to their kids. So if I take my kids to a movie and then there are
And they
gay
don't even do that.
relationships or there is, a gay couple with the kid and my kid asks me, well, what's that? Now I'm forced into this conversation
Okay.
to discuss alternative lifestyles. I just
And
think
that's why these girls be getting
Exactly.
beat up by these DL gay dudes, cause the niggas, it
Yeah.
ain't
And then
normal. Y'all
you
making it
don't
so
want to, you
abnormal
don't
that
want to,
people
we're
can't
not,
be the
I
but
normal
it's
don't,
self.
not
well,
making abnormal, but it
all
doesn't
right.
see, but that
Yeah,
be
I don't
the
know,
thing.
man.
Like,
I don't
what
know.
is,
My
I
question
don't
is,
know.
if it
all
doesn't hurt
right.
a
Okay, so
kid
can
Salute.
I
to
say
These
this
are
real
Salute.
Hold
quick?
on,
age
one
old
mic,
Can
one
I
mic,
say
one
debates.
this?
mic.
then why
I
does it
don't
gotta
know.
Hold
be
on, hold on,
made that it's
Let me.
there?
hold on. Wait,
Huh,
one mic, one mic. Go ahead, Paris, and then we got Kenya, and then Shakur.
I have 2 points to make. My initial point is I have no problem with representation, right? Because you can't just exclude people just because you don't care about them. But I also have no problem with things that are just white based. You get what I'm saying? I love a good white rom com that don't even include no black cast at all. So I think that that level of discomfort around LGBTQ just not having that reflection, that's something internally y'all have to discuss in proximity to y'all representation. But you having representation isn't a slight, isn't you not having representation isn't a slight to you when you want it how you want it. The other part of the conversation is I want us to stop insinuating that parents only care when shit is gay. Cause there are labels and shit on movies for a certain reason, even down to X-rated, R-rated, whatever the case may be. And I can absolutely tell you my personal experience. My parents took issue with sex scenes. My parents took issue with kissing. My parents took issue with gun violence. My parents took issue with gruesomeness. Halloween movies weren't a thing that they allowed us to watch. Witchcraft wasn't a thing that they allowed us to watch because it was their job to monitor things that we were being programmed to look at, even down to music videos. So this ideology just that it stops at being gay is a lie. They took issue with any sexual acts and they took issue with violence. And I say that from my own personal experience, and my parents weren't the only people who watched me. So I want that narrative to stop being pushed too, because the ignorance that's being spewed is, oh my gosh, people are going to watch TV and be gay. We know we cannot avoid life experiences, but we are also not going to sit here and try to ridicule parents for telling their children, this is not your experience. You're not young, you're not old enough to watch this. We're not going to ridicule parents for being parents.
Yeah, I mean that doesn't.
Yeah, but parents trying to determine, my bad, Rashad, go ahead.
What you're saying is very logical, right? But Simba had Nala in a movie, right?
that was an animal.
Hold on, because Buzz Lightyear is animated.
They
like,
didn't have sex.
That
what are
hold
we
on, wait.
talking about?
Buzz Lightyear is an animated movie in which they didn't have sex, right? What I'm saying is that all of these movies, with Disney, there were heterosexual relationships, right? The only reason Cinderella or Snow White, which one of them? Only reason Snow White woke up is because a nigga kissed her, right? Cinderella finding the prince, right? And so, what's the Tangled, putting her hair down. What is we talking about? Shrek and Fiona. So all of these relationships, there are heterosexual relationships and where they're not having sex, but you know damn sure well that they are together in some type of romantic way. So to
Okay,
draw the line
but
at this
why
But
are,
doesn't
that's
make
hold
that's
sense.
on.
the po-
But why are
the
we
point is to
trying to
say that
have,
that's not to say that
see,
parents didn't take
They
issue with it,
didn't.
and
Jesus
you're
Straight from the
Christ.
conflating those two
numbers. They
things.
didn't.
It
But
forces
here
us
be
to have
these,
an uncomfortable
Even the
no, but
Donkey
it's
conversation.
Yeah, I
not,
do
Kid
know
no,
was
no,
that
no.
kids
dragging.
become sexually
Hold on.
curious around elementary school, right?
Okay,
Y'all do know that, right?
but hold up.
Before they even hit
And
sixth
this
grade,
is,
y'all know that kids become sexually curious,
but this
Hold on.
is
right?
And
Hold
that's
where,
on.
why
Let Janae,
and
parents
let
if
want
they're in
Janae,
to
let Janae
limit
hit.
elementary,
Then we
it.
go to you,
okay,
Shakur.
let's be very clear. Kids are not sexual, like, see, y'all say certain stuff and that shit is not real. You are not
They
sexually
are
curious.
sexually
You
curious, where
are
they
not,
wonder
hold
what
up.
happens with their private
Can I
parts.
go ahead? They're not worrying about sexuality at 6. Stop it. And let's be very clear,
She
because the
said sixth
stats,
grade.
she said elementary school.
I said sixth grade though. I
Yeah.
was
Okay, so that's
specific to sixth
middle.
grade.
So we're talking middle school. That's not elementary. So yes, if you're talking middle school, then that's different because now you're hitting the 12, the tweens, the teenage years. Yes, that's a different conversation. Yes, and we're not talking about that. We're talking about something like Buzz Lightyear where we're talking about a different age range. Kindergarten. maybe 4 years old, 5 years old, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Like that's what we're talking about, right? Cause what I think ends up happening in these conversations, y'all want it to seem one way as if we're not talking about a realistic society. Because if we're talking, like, what's so interesting to me is this is an Americanized conversation because Americans are so hell bent on the experiences of our freedoms that when someone even gives a suggestion of, okay, we don't have to remove it out of the movie, just put a disclaimer. Why should we have to do that? What do you mean? Because everybody doesn't necessarily attribute or ascribe to that particular lifestyle. In another country, that shit wouldn't even go. So what I'm saying is there's never a meeting of the middle. It's accept everything all as is, no matter what your belief is, no matter if you want it. I don't give a fuck none about none of that or not. Because Rashad, you say things like, oh, these kissing, don't you know there are even very, very extremely conservative people that wouldn't even fuck around with a PG, and they said, listen, if you 2, 3, 4, 5, I want you seeing G rated only. I don't even want to do that. Like that is the duality of people. And so I get what your point is, but it's like, why are you trying to avoid having the real conversation of as if we're thinking that this particular, not saying that it's, no one's saying right or wrong, because you're hearing alternative and thinking alternative is wrong, because that's what we've heard, and people's triggers start going. I'm not saying that it being an alternative lifestyle means wrong. What I'm saying is it's alternative. It is not the norm. It is not the traditional sense of the things that we are. So when you're talking about, well, you see this person be a person, it's a prince and a princess. Okay, that is traditional. Why would you not have a traditional sense of things that we understand?
So is
Now,
getting
if they
married
start,
before you start popping
Hold on,
kids
wait.
out. But we see 1,000
exactly.
movies
And so,
with
Talking
okay,
and
fucking
bragging and
bastard
stuff.
hold
ass
on,
Like,
kids.
what are we
hold
talking
on.
about?
Okay, so what is your point? Because you're proving my point.
No, what I'm
My
saying
point
You,
is,
is,
if you want to talk
you
about,
screaming it
you
is
keep
not
talking
saying
about
nothing different than what I'm
norms, and you
saying.
keep talking about that. You keep talking about norms and
Listen,
tradition. It's untraditional to have a bastard ass kid. It's untraditional to move
exactly,
in before you fucking. It's not
That's
exactly,
traditional
very
to be with
traditional. There's
somebody if
been
you haven't
kids
met
out of
family.
exactly,
wedlock
So
for
then you
you.
have to
exactly,
put a disclaimer
exactly.
out here for everything. So what
And
you're doing
they do.
is
And
a
they do.
slippery
And
ass
that's
slope.
the part that you don't get. And they do. When there's anything in that way, it's PG-13. It's PG. It's
Oh,
rated
stop.
R.
But
So what the fuck you
it's
talking
nothing
about?
saying that, hey, y'all about to see a bastard child.
No,
So
it's
this, just
rated. That's
watch
the point of
yourselves.
ratings when there's the material. What are you talking
so
about?
why?
They do
So
it
to Sonny's
already.
point, why not just leave it as is? Because they're not going into
Leave
the
what
specifics.
as
They're
is.
not
What are you
going in.
talking about?
They're not going to the specifics of there is going to be a child out of wedlock in this movie. They're not. They're just giving you the overall
Are
rating.
y'all being willingly slow or y'all just want
No,
to be
that
dumb
you
for the
said
sake of
no.
Yes,
That's
they
conversation?
you.
are.
This
That's
is
Because,
you.
all
making a
right,
crazy
No,
cause
you
then
keep
I
conversation.
don't,
using,
I'm
no, you
done
keep
talking to
using words
willingly
like
slow
No,
ass
that's
traditional,
shit.
you. You
Monet.
saying you
You're
want
I'm
them
not
using
doing the
words like
willingly slow ass
traditional.
shit.
You're
Cause
saying you want them to specifically say that there's gay shit in a movie, but you don't want them to specifically say other things in the same rating. But
they're
we
But
already
they
follow.
do
doing it cause
though.
that's the traditional style of rating.
I
They
mean,
already
they
do
have
it.
drugs, violence, nudity,
They say that
language,
already. So why are y'all
cussing
playing
is,
willfully obtuse?
yeah,
Yo,
all right.
it's all right. Cause y'all like to play this weird shit
Oh,
just to have
brother,
a
she
point.
just
I'm
named
cool.
the
I'm muting up.
Well,
entire list of
They
things.
want
drugs,
tradition to be
She
violence,
something
just
and
new.
named the
nudity, and
entire
that stuff
list,
sounds
and y'all
rated
just gonna
R.
forget all
But
the shit
just
that she said,
liking
right?
somebody.
Sonny didn't just make a whole list,
I
right?
don't, I'm not agree, right, but
Hold
here's
on, wait. Let's go. Hold on, wait. Before we get, let's go to
go ahead.
Shakur, Rel, and then ADK, because these brothers and had their hands up. They ain't interrupt nobody. Sorry to y'all, brothers. We got to make a safe space for black men. Fist in the air.
Nah,
Go ahead,
you
Shakur.
good. You good. I feel like this conversation was taking a nice, appropriate course. It wasn't getting too out of hand. And what I mean by that is like, okay, we've pointed out the facts, right? Tradition is something that has been happening for a long standard of time, right? Now, niggas having kids out of wedlock, we'd be dumb to say that's not tradition because that's tradition too. So at the end of the day, we put ratings on things just so it could be palatable, understood, and marketed, right? So what Jonay and them is really saying from my takeaway is just like, okay, this is a bit of marketing, right? And then when you ask her the question that like, okay, so are niggas gonna become gay because of this? It's not popular to answer the question honestly, especially in these spaces, but we was listening to music like, oh, all your ladies leave your fellas at home. The tricking and hoeing culture was inbred in us through music. We listened to those things. That's why when she said, oh, I remember being a kid, I do too. And all of the shit that we do now, or that the new kids are doing now, was shit that we was taught to do through music and through media. So if we want to just be safe, right? We're not saying don't do it. You could fuck who you fuck. You could get representation how you get representation, right? Just market it the right way. Don't market a kids movie in a way that's not for kids. And we're not saying that any relationship can be for kids, right? But at the same time, there is a certain level of standards and practices that we have to figure out instead of letting other people dictate. Just like what we were talking about in the past conversation.
Go ahead, Real, and then ADK. Real once. What's the word? How you
You can hear
feeling?
me?
Yes,
Hey,
sir.
listen, man, I'm feeling good. Listen, man, y'all not gonna like this, but listen, man, as a man with 4 daughters, I'm sorry, I don't want my daughters to go gay. I need them to have kids so we can continue our legacy. I just watched this happen with my man, one of my best friends from high school. He's gay. Well, we didn't know this till way later, but he's gay and his sister is gay, which means that their parents, they only got 2 kids. Now their legacy is over. It's over. If their kids get in a car accident right now, their
Y'all do
family
know
tree
we
is
live in
done. It's
2025.
over. I'm not with that. Sorry.
That's what sperm banks are for. That's why they freeze eggs.
But
That's what all
the
that
people
shit
he
is
talking
for.
about is probably
Just
50
in
years
case
old. They
y'all
can't
didn't want to
have
know.
kids.
They
They're older.
34. They
Sure.
my age. They 34. The kids are.
No, I was speaking about your parents, but I ain't even cut y'all off.
Go. Yeah, I think that there's ways to get around that, Real. Not gonna lie. Go ahead, ADK. What's the word? How you feeling? What he got in his
Yo,
caption? God does like DK. What does that mean?
no, and I was just supporting when my boy Jid dropped his album. I just made a little
Okay,
image of it,
okay. What's in there for
we just
Jib?
was had in there. Quick temporary salute. Shout out to the space. Hi, Miss Jonay, Rashad, everybody in
What
there.
up,
What's going on?
DK?
I'll be quick. Look, I agree for the most part, with Miss Jonay in terms of just the sense of, look, I supported all LBGT, all that, have your choice, all that jazz. All I'm saying is, as a parent himself, as a parent that has a son, don't care what he ends up being. Love him regardless. Preferably, if he was heterosexual, the more the merrier. Great, son. We seem to be on that path. But even if not, just give me the choice. I'm not saying you got to change the rating to PG-13 and make it seem like, oh, you got to be this to say this. But I do believe it should be some implication of just letting me know it's there. However they choose to phrase it to where it's digestible, cool.
The
What I
rainbow
don't
label.
want, randomly, I remember one day my son was just watching Rise of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the new version they got, and he came in one day and was like, hey, I saw these two male characters, like, they were kissing and hugging. Like, is that normal? Like, I had that question to ask, and it was just like, oh, no, well, sometimes it's this, and that you just have that conversation early, or whether it be disclosed in certain movies and things like that, especially when you're talking about kids' movies and things like that. Again, not that it's bad, but it's just, I just would like to know that that's there. So then, like we said earlier, we all grew up different, some, like, I could watch Bad Boys at 7 and 8 because there wasn't no fuck scenes in there. It was just shooting and blood and a whole bunch of cussing it is. But, I couldn't watch Players Club. I couldn't watch that till I was of age. I mean, I had some relatives where, hell, they couldn't even watch certain anime. They couldn't watch Dragon Ball Z. They couldn't watch Airbender. As soon as it came on, oh no, that's the devil. And they would run off. Like, they
Yeah,
legit
I
couldn't
hate them
watch it in
devil
their house. So
talks. I ain't gonna lie.
I know it's crazy, right? You would see, oh, that's the devil. And like, I remember my little cousin
Don't
Caleb,
disrespect my grandma, nigga.
hey, I'm just saying,
That shit was the devil.
he saw the last Airbender come on. The intro ain't even get finished. He said, that's the devil.
But
Ran
see,
out the
I
room.
think
So,
I
But that
think
be the
that
problem,
Kenya.
DK. You see how what
Wait,
you just said
y'all
is
niggas need to use
that's
your
one of the
medulla
things.
oblongata then.
You
Y'all
see
keep
what I'm
talking about it as
saying?
a goddamn
You
parent.
see
As
exactly
a
what's
parent, you
going
can't do
on,
your
Okay,
but use
okay,
your
DK.
one
kids
second.
right,
I
and they
think
But
still
Kenya.
they
might go
Wait, wait,
only
left.
wait,
hear it
Kenya.
when we talking about gay shit, but they don't hear the fact that it's the same type of thing on other material, but it only
But
becomes,
it's the
oh,
equating
anti when we
of,
talking about
Hold
that
up,
shit
but
you're
y'all,
talking
y'all
but
do
about.
know that
Janae.
being gay is
Hold
There's
on,
almost a
no,
norm
one
That's
mic.
because
nowadays.
no.
they're
I'm
You
not
saying
you
it's
Because
you
in
do
there's
terms of
know
a,
how
that,
Hold on,
right?
wait, one mic. I think Kenya did wake it up because she said that these parents scared to have the conversation. They don't want to be prompted to have the conversation in a conversation that they probably not gonna have
they
anyway.
don't have to
And
if they
that's
don't want to. Why are
hold on,
y'all
wait,
And
wait,
that's
wait,
why
wait,
acting
and
wait,
that's
like
why
wait.
they
fools?
can't.
okay,
That's
but
why they
here
don't. And
goes
that's
the
You
why they
don't
that's
don't know
have
their
unfortunate that you
to.
know.
kids.
Who
What
the
I'm
fuck
That's
is
why
saying
they
is
don't
that
really
y'all?
know
People
their
don't have to have those
kids.
conversations
what
with
I'm
their fucking
saying
kids.
is, if I can
They
finish,
do.
what I'm
No, they
saying,
They
don't.
do.
what I'm
It's
saying
just
is that they don't have the conversation ever. And so that's the reasoning behind it. They just don't want to talk about this shit. So do you have to have it at 6 years old? No. But there is a level of apprehension because I just don't want to address the topic at all, and then that's where that
But
fear comes from, in my
I have
opinion.
You
a
don't
problem with
Rashawn,
the
have
can I say something
no,
to,
though?
but
and that's
Johnny,
what y'all
No,
Johnny,
this
can
is
not
I
about context
can I
getting.
too.
talk?
Go ahead,
No,
go
Johnny,
ahead,
can
Rashawn,
I ask you
We
something
don't
real
have
quick?
to talk about that.
Johnny,
Like
can I ask you something
there's a
real
way to
quick?
respect. Before you ask me, let me make my point clear.
Yeah, go ahead.
There is a very fine line between diving into the nuance of different lifestyles and then also preaching to your kids, loving and respecting people from different backgrounds. Because again, there's plenty of ways to teach your child how to engage and love and not spew hatred without saying, well, this is the way to teach them is throwing it in Buzz Lightyear. Let the people that want to do it that way, let them do it. Cause then
and
that's
if you
why I
don't, let
say
the streets do it.
but no. If it, see, and this is how let me shut the fuck up. Cause
On to the streets. Let the
y'all
streets
project
teach
so
them.
fucking much
Fuck
based
it.
off of y'all experiences that this how I be knowing what really be going on. Because the truth of the matter is that if y'all using these videos and these movies to be the teachers, that's number one, the problem. Number two, if there is a way or a household that you are creating that you don't want certain things and that is not the way that y'all have the standard of living, absolutely. And that goes for anything, whether it's that ghetto ass shit, whether it is this, whether it is violence, whether it's demonic. There's plenty of things that people have. You're not watching that in their
But look
household.
what you're
So that's my point.
but okay,
It's almost
my
Like,
like
are y'all
y'all
question, wait,
crazy?
but
equating
hold on.
And
hatred and white
No,
Yeah,
Kenya,
you
You
are.
are
I
the
have
crazy
No.
Jonae.
no.
It's Kenya
You are.
turn, then we going to Sunny.
And Kenya, tread lightly, cause I don't
I,
have a problem with packing you up.
I don't want that.
Go
I
ahead,
really
Tread
do.
Kenya.
I'm not
lightly.
here for that. I don't want that. I don't
Look
want to
at
be
Jonay trying to
confused.
give folks threats. We ain't worried
Right?
I'm
about
Trying to
telling,
that.
ask
cause
me
that's my
before
We ain't
I
worried
say
about
homegirl.
no
my
That's my
damn
piece.
box.
homegirl. That's
We
my
ain't never
Nah,
boxed
fuck
homegirl.
me
all
up.
that. That was a threat, bro.
Go
Like
ahead,
that.
That
Kenya.
ain't
That's
no
what
threat.
niggas
I'm
say,
just saying, cause I don't want us to, I don't want us
Niggas
to
can't
beef
talk to
over
me
this
like
one.
that.
I don't want to beef over. I really don't think we will. I think we're gonna move past this conversation like everything else. But there's always so much double speak in these conversations because, and I'm sure like people want to be polite and people want to be palatable, but all of this, I'm cool with the LGB and I don't have a problem and I don't mind, but then equating the people to violence and drugs and sex
And you
and
see,
debaucherous
now I gotta pack you up.
lifestyle. And
That
when
now I
it
gotta pack
comes
you
to,
up.
no, because Johnny, I'm not just
Because
letting
that
you,
is not
no,
what was
no,
Go ahead,
said.
let her
that's what
That
finish.
is
y'all are
not what
doing.
was
Let her
said.
Johnny,
finish.
That's
wait,
not
because
what
Now
that's
don't
y'all,
pack her up
not,
yet, cause you
No,
might.
that's exactly what happened, but let her get her point out. She only said 2 sentences. Let her
but
finish.
y'all are not gonna say,
That was a double mute. We don't do that. But go ahead, let her finish because y'all did bring up nudity and all that shit. Sunny Rain brought up a different type of risk.
I'm talking about you not wanting your kid to see
Who is
stuff,
this?
period. I'm not
violent,
equating. And that's how I know
yes,
y'all are being willfully too
but,
or
my
intentionally
problem with
slow.
Let
that
her
is,
let her go. Let
Don't
her finish.
fucking do that.
Let her finish.
my
No, you're
problem,
not going to do
my
that. So fix your
problem with that.
words.
You said it,
Jonah,
Jonay. You said the nudity and drugs
She
and
did.
shit.
I'm gonna keep talking over her
You
because
said
I'm not gonna
it.
let that like
Say
deter me.
it.
But
Say
does
it.
that
Let
mean I'm
people know.
equating
Take
them
me
as
from my
all
point.
equal, Rashad? Are you stupid?
You said it.
Okay,
So
I
when she
said it
turns
as
around and
a
makes a
reason
point,
that people
now
don't
it's
like
like
to
niggas
watch
being
certain
accused.
shit.
Right,
You
but
said
when
the
you are,
word.
Are you being fucking dumb? I'm not
No,
saying
you
they're all
are.
equal.
Because Sonny
Does that
said
mean they're
something
all
totally
equal?
different.
Does
no,
that
but
mean they're
they
all
wouldn't.
Sonny
Yeah,
equal?
they
said
wouldn't have
something
brought them
totally
up in the same
different.
Does
vein at
that mean they're
all.
all equal?
Okay, this
If
is
you're putting it on that
Don't be a
level,
fucking
Jesus
idiot.
what the
Christ.
hell are we
You
talking
have to
about?
put
Y'all are some, yo.
Hold on,
you
wait, wait,
guys
wait, wait,
in
wait, wait,
one
wait, wait,
breath,
wait.
I'm
Hold on,
done
hold on, hold
talking
on.
to
saying,
you.
If you're putting gay shit, because you the one who came up with the idea of making it a rating and making it plain. So if you are putting homosexual relationships on the same level as nudity, guns,
she
and
didn't.
drugs,
She
is
You
put it
that
are
next
because
to
a
the
y'all say
other
dumb
they the same
ratings.
shit?
motherfucker.
She put
How
it
the
them next to the
fuck?
other
How,
ratings, Rashad.
no,
These are
no.
the other
And
How?
this
ratings.
is that dumbass shit,
Am
and
I
this is why y'all need to
crazy?
read
and look
books.
what I
This is
can't
why y'all
even
need to
say
read
what
books,
I
because you're
what I
slow.
have to
No,
say
move out the way,
because
move out the way, Kenya,
this is
because
crazy.
this is how I know you're slow as a motherfucker. Because
Said the
nudity
shit.
is rated R.
My
No,
ears
No,
work.
no. Nudity is rated R. Violence is rated R. PG, PG-13 is all different ratings for all different things. Your slow ass thought I was trying to say that
You
that is
got one more
equal
slow.
to a rated R.
You
I don't
got
give a
one more
fuck.
slow.
And what?
You got one more
And
slow.
then what'll
You
happen?
got one more slow. I'm just
And
letting it
then
be
what'll
plain.
happen? And then what'll
I'm just letting it
happen?
be plain.
And then what'll
I'm just letting
happen?
it be
Because
plain.
you're not gonna
Trash.
put
I'm just
words
letting it
in
be
my mouth
plain.
over something I didn't say. And then what'll happen? I'm
I'm just
waiting.
letting it be plain.
I'm the
And then
one
what'll
who said
happen? Like
it.
I
Hey, I'm just
said,
letting it
So
be
don't put
I'll
it
plain.
on
say it three
Rashad.
more
I'm the
times.
one who
Then
Hey,
what'll
said
slow
it.
might
happen?
Y'all
slow
don't
better
need to
not be
be
You
crossing
better
playing.
grab
this
your
And
direction.
nuts.
then what'll
Slow better
happen?
not cross this direction. That's on
And
Grab
Sunny.
then what'll
her
Go
ass.
ahead,
happen?
finish your point.
Exactly.
Finish
Like
your
I just
point.
said, nothing will
Finish your
happen. So,
point.
and my
Slow better
whole
not cross
point
this
is this.
taking Nothing
nothing will
for it.
happen, Rashad.
We'll
So
listen out
like
for it.
I
Go ahead,
said,
finish your point.
when I'm talking about something having a rating and the way that your mind fixes that to say, I'm saying is equal to rated R is exactly the point of what I'm saying. Saying that something is alternative, and if you feel like someone is saying, I don't want to see this particular type of content in a movie, just making it as a disclaimer, I'm not saying that has to then mean that disclaimer is equal to violence, gore, and all that. That's not the point. And I didn't even say that. Y'all are hearing that because you're trying to make a point off of what I said, and you're not doing that. You're not going to equate me saying this should be something if someone thinks it's a problem, they don't want their children to see that in a G-rated movie. You can literally have that as part of the disclaimer in a perfectly fine movie. You don't have to change the rating.
Yes, right. Now, okay. All right, let's
So
take
you're not
that.
doing that, like I
Let's take,
said.
okay, let's keep that
And I'm still
stand
waiting to see
forward.
what'll happen if I do it.
Shanae, please leave that alone.
No, I'm not leaving a damn thing alone.
Even peace, Brie. Oh my God, hey babe. Oh, okay.
Go ahead, Kenya.
Wow.
I'd have dropped your ass.
With
Yeah, I just can't.
Yeah, draw
everything,
let him do it and see what happens.
oh my God, the
I
threat.
don't
He
DB,
don't
like all
threaten
these
me.
threats.
the
He don't
DB's
TV
threaten
is
me.
an
I don't know
instigator.
what's
Y'all
malfunction
going
gonna
on.
let
today. I just
DB
wanted to shout
I
that
don't know
out.
what's going on.
It's too
But
many people.
listen, the
I
threats
would have
don't come
been along
kindly.
with that shit.
And
Go
they don't
ahead,
come kindly to
Kenya.
me either. Please understand
Go
who you're
ahead,
talking
Kenya.
to.
Go ahead,
Yes.
Kenya.
So okay, I feel like it's a bit disingenuous, maybe not very, a bit disingenuous to say that you don't have a problem or you don't view the lifestyle as negative, and then say that you want to put a censorship or a ban on it when it comes to content for the kid. Now, I'm not saying either which way, but I'm saying I think people just need to stand in their points a little stronger. You must think something adverse about the topic if that's what you're saying when it comes to children's content, because again, we're not talking about explicit sex scenes, we're just talking about the depiction of gay people or of a gay family. So to the point about, yes, we see the heterosexual families and we see heterosexual couples, in the media. Like, I feel like, I mean, obviously, right? How else could it be? Because that's what we all come from, and that's why we're here. So of course that would be a theme in the stuff. As far as representation is concerned, I think that people just don't like gayness, and I think that it makes people extremely uncomfortable for the most part, and that's really what it has been and probably what it always will be. And because it's so off-putting, we don't think that gayness and children should even have anything to do with each other. So when we start talking about representation, because there are going to be kids that might have two, gay parents or something like that, and they should see representation in media, a lot of people feel like, well, they shouldn't have the two gay parents to begin with, so it really shouldn't be no damn representation that's like such, needed for the most part. So it's like all downstream of that thought of people just not liking gay shit. So I think that because people don't like it, and that's really what all this conversation is about. It's not really so much about protecting the kids. Watching that is not going to make the kids gay. I'm not saying, and that's just, I don't feel like it's coming from a place of, oh, protect the kids. I just feel like you just don't like it. Now, I'm
Okay,
not
so
saying
so
that you
since
have
you
to
want to keep
like
saying
it.
words, then let me say words.
Hold on,
Again, that has nothing to do with it. I literally said over and over and over again, because y'all try to do this projection game. Do that with a nigga that's stupid. I literally said there is nothing wrong with this content being in the movie, but if someone is conservative and does not want that, what is wrong with having a disclaimer? I didn't say change the rating. I didn't say ban it. You was using words like ban. Come on, Kenya.
Then they
You're
probably
like,
shouldn't go
let's
to the
catch up.
movies.
Let's catch
if I
up
can
here.
add
And then
real
that's
quick,
fine
Then they
too.
probably should
If
stay
that's what
their
you
if
ass
I
at
think.
can add
home
real
and
If,
quick,
watch
if we don't want to see this
Nanny
shit,
the
now we got to
Nun.
stay at the
But
Yeah,
movies.
stay
Shanae,
your ass at
the
home
Sure.
and watch
And
conservative
Nanny
that's
the
people
it.
are
Nun.
And so
probably
what we're
not,
not going to
they're
do is
not
do that.
watching
So
that
like I
kind of
said,
Did
stuff
y'all
we're
ever
not
anyway.
going
watch
to
So
that
do
super
it.
Nickelodeon
conservative
doc where
people
they
don't have
unveiled
their
all the
kids
gay shit
watch
that was in
those movies
Nickelodeon?
at
Yes, and
all.
that's some
Oh,
bullshit.
okay.
Yep,
So
that
they do
too.
it
They're
even
not
with
Bullshit.
watching
That
so they
anything
do
too.
it even
I
with
either.
no
want to
That
gay
say
too.
people
You
in
something
can't
there,
pack
first.
me
right?
up.
Who
Like
you
I
put
The
on
said,
the
whole
that too.
Okay.
list?
community is
Nasty
not
as fuck.
watching
That
Disney
too.
Channel. They're not
Alright.
taking us from
Can
households. They got
Pedophilia,
put in that on. So
nasty shit.
One mic. Go ahead, Brain. What's the word?
y'all not that conservative.
thank
Stop.
you.
It's a bunch of fake
And
conservatism.
neither
Hold
are
on, wait, hold on.
you.
I know my
All I'm
team is
saying is,
not.
under the
Neither
claim
are
to be.
you.
I don't know if y'all don't know what one mic is. Go ahead, Brain.
Let's make sure we be
Hold
mindful
on,
about
guys.
children out of wedlock, talking about who's conservative and who's
I
not.
never said
Let's go, Brain.
I was.
Okay, so let's keep it cute. Go ahead, Bray.
Listen, just because you ain't got in the field, listen, stop it.
Well, yeah.
Stop
Come
it.
on, Jonay. That was
This
kind of
ain't no bullying
nasty.
session. I don't know what the fuck you got going on, but folks up here having a regular conversation. We not with that personal shit. Go ahead. Bray.
Yeah, you better than me.
Go ahead, Bray.
I'm trying to. Goddamn, I'm being muted. DB, please stop instigating. This is a team and a production,
This shit is
and this
DB's
shall
fault.
too pass.
Oh,
This
I
So,
shit is
mean, say
DB's
less.
fault. I
Y'all
swear to
okay.
have
God
a
it
good
is.
No,
afternoon. Have a good
DB,
night.
please.
This ain't my night.
Anyway, I do agree. Listen, when that shit came out on Nickelodeon as a new parent, that was the last time my child watched Nickelodeon, okay? So the Disney Channel only. I did believe too, and my child was born in
No Disney.
2009. So I think this was on the cusp of where they were integrating these things into the children programs. And I just thought that it was fucking crazy. What I equated to, and like I heard Kenya saying that some people just don't like people like the gayness. You can be right about that. I come from a conservative family; they don't like the shit. Me personally, I had to decipher. Am I, what is it, homophobic or? But I realized that gayness, or that's not the right term. Gayness, it's a term for that.
Homosexuality.
Yeah, your sexuality, right? That has to deal with sex. And I don't believe that kids need to be having conversations about who they're interested in having sex with. It doesn't make sense to me. I don't believe that the conversation needs to be necessary or implanted around kids. That's not for kids. I don't think that it has anything to do. It could have something to do with people not liking gayness, right? But I remember my child who's in middle school, and that's where they tell you middle school is when they start acting crazy, right? Because you got people who don't watch their kids, and people is introducing things. They got the bracelet game going. Listen, I'm not gonna hold you. My daughter Bryson was 1 week with, I don't know what the rainbow propaganda was going on, but I lost my mind. Ain't shit coming up in here that's rainbow. I don't care, do not care. And it's not necessarily that wouldn't want my child, because I'm sexually fluid. Okay. I like to sleep with women sometimes. I would never date one, but that's my business. But
You
I
just
feel like with
invalidated
our
all that shit
kids,
you said.
listen, but I listen, God is working on me. I will be delivered. Okay. But just right now, it is what it is. But I
What
just
is
feel
that
like for my,
mindset? I don't. What do you get? What is that mindset of you, uh, self-proclaimed gender fluid, but then not wanting your child to be exposed to that, especially
hold
because your
on,
child is a
because
little bit
that's the
older.
difference.
I could see like
But
you know.
that's a difference, Rashad, because I'm speaking on a child. I am speaking as a grown ass woman, right? So my child being introduced to something at 12, 11 years old and trying to figure out what's her sexuality,
Oh, you
I don't
talking
think
about
that's
okay back
important.
then? Okay.
Yeah, so that's what my child is only 16, Rashad. Goddamn, y'all
No, but
think
I
that's
mean
important?
16. What is 16? 10th grade. I know what I was on in 16.
No, 16. I said middle school, Rashad. This
Okay,
is when they
okay, got it. I
introduce
wasn't
these
following. My
things.
bad. Go ahead.
But that Nickelodeon stuff happened when my child was like in elementary, right? When they had the gay people, like the like the two parents, or I don't know, when Nickelodeon started all that shit, right? So I just feel that it's a time and a place. And I remember speaking with my daughter about, because she loves the LGBT community, right? And I support my daughter; she's super smart. But I explained to her that her sexuality and what she's interested in as a kid is not important, right? And I think it's a borderline of pedophilia when kids want to have to choose a side. Why are we worried about who we're trying to have sex with? That bothers me. But that's just my piece. And to the team,
Hold
I
on.
heard people last night talking about how they team get over stuff and they the best team. I need our team to not be looking crazy in front of other people, please.
Listen,
Thank you.
listen. Hell of a Monday. Yeah. With the, I don't think that that conversation is have to be had as far as just seeing images of same sex people being affectionate towards each other. It doesn't have
My,
to go into sex
it
and
doesn't
having a
have to.
conversation about
But kids
procreation
want to
and kids.
identify
But
with it,
can I?
Rashad. And how do you identify with it?
But Bree,
Right?
so can I ask this question real quick? Because if the conversation is about them not needing to see that, or they should not be seeing that, what do you do about real life? Because they can, even if it's not on their screen, they might still encounter gay
So,
people,
okay,
in
so
reality.
what you're saying is completely true, right? But we have to look at how reality is set up and then how television and production is set up. Television and production is set up with a narrative or agenda being pushed through the images or what's going on. So it's not just that, it's a storyline, right? My child being out and seeing, like, so I used to live in one part of Houston near the Blade, right? Where we got prostitutes walking up the street, right? So my child can see that and see that that is a situation for unfortunate women versus seeing the Players Club and thinking, make that money and don't let that money make you. Does that make sense? I think it's a complete difference
I get, yeah, I get
in
what you're
how
saying.
things are approached
Yeah.
and how it's put out. So that's my difference. But I only spoke to it because my child was coming up when that stuff happened on Nickelodeon. So and that's why I said I had to think, damn, am I really just homophobic? But it was like, no, my child is now thinking she has to find out what her sexuality lies at, and I just don't think that's important for kids. It's a distraction.
I mean, to each their own. Uh,
That was
It's
well
not
said.
to each their own.
these kids
Y'all
running
made it
around.
clear.
Oh, Janae,
Exactly.
we
No,
didn't
Johnny,
we
don't
didn't
That's
play
not to
talk
each
victim.
their
about the
own.
I
Johnny,
mean,
tea.
these
don't
kids
play
running around in
victim.
It ain't to each their
elementary
own.
Janae
I'm
school
not
about
playing
the
victim. It's
tea.
not
talk,
to each their
talking
own
about
though.
girlfriend,
I asked the
boyfriend type shit.
It's a
question.
Y'all,
rare day.
You
I
y'all
really
giving
bring
can
the
kids a
tea.
lot of
Okay.
yeah. These kids is in
Apologies for
elementary
the attack,
school
Kenya. I'm
talking
sorry.
about they got a
I will never
girlfriend or they
take
There
got a
we
boyfriend.
go.
this content over everything.
There go my girls. Rashad, real apology yet.
No, I don't want one for
I
them.
didn't even hear them. I was talking.
I'm saying that it's not to each his own though. I think that's the
I mean,
point. Cause
these kids.
that was the moment that was the point of okay, if it's to each their own, why not just do don't change the rating, just do a disclaimer,
No,
to each
to
their own.
braid. No, I
And
think.
then it's like, no, because if you do that, then that means you disagree and that means you hate the people. No, it's just to each their own. Everybody, like, I
No,
don't,
I was saying to each their own. To Bray's point of kids
mhm.
not necessarily talking about like sexuality and that type of shit. Because Sunny gave grace, right, when she said sixth grade, right. These motherfucking kids in second grade, first grade, they trying to hold hands, they trying to give each other hugs, they talking
Slapping
about
each
this my
other
boyfriend,
And
butts.
Nah, but
girlfriend.
it's
see,
six. It's
Rashad, I
middle
don't
school
know.
Like
where it
that
starts.
type of
Sixth
shit.
grade.
So,
Mhm.
so when those conversations and those things are happening, right? I got three, right? And so
Mhm.
it's not missed that this is what they're exposed to in these situations. So what I'm saying is, to Kenya's point, that in my opinion there should be a conversation, and a lot of the pushback comes from people just not wanting to address that situation. I know for me, I don't think well, my dad we talked about more in depthly, but the sex conversation, and then outside of just sex, like, how do you feel, what do you identify as, what is going on, like those conversations I don't necessarily think parents want to have in the first place. So any reason in which they can point at and say, no, get this shit off my screen because I don't want to talk about it, they'll just take that and use that and try to weaponize it, when the truth of the matter is you just scared and anxious and afraid and don't want to talk about it. And so it's just like, get the fuck away from me. That's my because it's really nothing other than that, because you can't equate
But that's
seeing a
not
black woman and a white
true.
woman hugging and they're quote unquote in a relationship,
But
and then Shrek and Fiona hugging and kissing, and then now that's all
But
right. Like,
Rashad,
it's no equation. I mean, it doesn't
that
equate.
and that is the problem, and this is why when Sonny says we're in 2025, that's why we're still having these conversations, because if you're on the side of what you and Sonny are saying, anything other than what you're saying is anti, and that is why we're still here. Y'all haven't gotten to the point to where you realize that people could just say, I don't necessarily want to have this, without it meaning they are anti. We haven't even moved forward the conversation, and that is why, yes, I'm gonna get at Kenya, because you get up here and you hear me say something it's just slightly adverse, and it is, you don't like, you don't want, you have this, and then there's all of these judgments based off of what you hear me saying. Is not saying anti anything.
Yeah,
It is
yeah,
saying,
I was
can
dragging it.
we, yeah, it's like, this is not an anti-conversation. This is, hey, if some people feel a little bit more reserved, why is that a thing? They should stop
But
going to the movies. You
you
should stop
highlighting
doing
it
that. You
as if
should
it's
stop.
not normal. It is very
Oh
normal
my
for niggas to be
gosh,
gay. It
damn.
was normal
Like
back then.
nobody is highlighting and saying it's not normal. I said it is an alternative lifestyle. And are we going to say, we're going to get up here and say that that's not?
It's very few.
in this
Yeah,
country.
Yeah,
it's a small
depending on who
minority
you
of
ask,
people.
Jonah,
It's
you're
very
In this
correct.
normal in this
It
country,
depends
country.
I
I'm
on
so
who
didn't
you ask,
sorry
say
to
but
tell
nor,
you're
y'all.
correct.
okay, alternative and
What
normal.
does
Do y'all
Sunny
know
mean by
that's two different
normal?
things,
Because
right?
I don't even
I'm
think
not
y'all
talking about
agree.
it not being
What I mean by
normal.
normal
Right.
is that if you
Janae,
went to
some
But
your
you
people
guys are
normal
don't
not
outlet
discriminate
mall,
agreeing.
if
And
you
who
there.
went
else
to
up
your
here gender fluid? Put your hand in the air. Who else gender
Janae, some
fluid?
people
Raise
in
your hand
Alabama
out
date
yourself
their
now.
family, so
So we can just
normal
figure out, we need to
depends on
tap
where
in.
you
Exact,
at.
but that's my point, Bray. That's why I didn't say normal. That's what I'm like, normal, something being normal is subjective, really, because normalcy is not my point. Alternative lifestyles is the point, and alternative does not mean it's not normal. I'm saying that it is not the mass majority, and you're living in a country that is founded on things that does not attribute. I'm not saying, that's the first thing
Yeah,
I said is, I'm not
yeah.
saying
But
what's
I
right
think
and
that there
wrong.
is a
No,
valid
but that's the point.
conversation,
And that's
right?
why it's going to be boxing, because the first thing y'all heard is me say, I'm not saying nothing is right or wrong at all. And I'm not even saying it shouldn't be in the movie. That's the first two things I said.
I think
And
there's a
then you
valid
have all of the
conversation, right?
additional
Because
well,
I
you
product
But
in
think
keep
the
it's
I
your
something to
do
ass
be
at
beginning.
hear
addressed.
home
that
so we don't
point,
have to go
I'm
round
not
and
Jones.
doing
round with this
nothing.
shit.
No,
Hold on,
but
hold on.
Keep
Johnny,
your
I
ass at
hear
Isaiah,
that
home.
point. But then how do
Cancel
you
your
separate?
AMC membership.
he said,
I hear that point, but then how do you
it's a squares
separate
AMC.
that from the concept of like the civil rights, or how do you separate that from the concept that
What?
okay, if the masses were all white people and they said I don't really want to see blacks on the screen, okay, and we get to talking about they are not the masses or they are not the majority, and they're saying no, I still, even though I'm not, I still deserve to be
Okay,
represented for my small
you're so,
population.
but this is
Kenya,
the
but that
thing.
happened with
And
Little
now, and
Mermaid.
this
That's what
is
I'm saying.
exactly
Little
what
I'm
I'm
no, but
talking
Mermaid
about.
is,
Little
I'm not Johnny.
Mermaid
Kenya,
I'm
had
not
you're
arguing
talking
everything.
him.
about,
I'm not arguing
but
for
you're
it.
talking
I'm not
skin
arguing for
color
it.
and sexuality. Like, why do
Okay,
y'all
I
but
do
that's
that?
know
still,
that,
hold on,
right?
Jonah,
You
that's still a
believe, I don't
point
know if you
because
believe
with Little
one can be
Mermaid,
No.
a choice, or I don't know how you feel about that topic. That's why I'm like, it's a lot of different things that lead
But
people
we're
to
not
their
talking about
positions.
that. But that's my point. This is not a
But
conversation about
it
my convictions. This
no,
was a
no, it's
conversation
about
about the
it's about everyone
point.
else's. So I really don't want to make it a
No,
you thing, but it's
but when
about the
you,
people that are
but
objecting
like
to the
Rashad
plan.
said, no, but Rashad said 5 minutes ago, if you're coming here to try to gauge everybody's convictions, then we will get into these conversations very often.
no, she
That is
brought it
why,
up to say that some people feel like that it's, you're born that way. So she doesn't know if
well,
you
we
feel
weren't in
that
a
way or
born
not.
that way conversation. And why do y'all need to know if I feel that
No,
way?
no, she's not
Because
asking whether you feel
That's
that
my,
way or not. She's
no,
bringing
what?
it
Johnny,
up because
you're not
other people
seeing.
may feel that way. So she was just making a
No,
point
I
on whether you
know,
feel like it or
and
not.
I understand that. So let's take that off the side, but we weren't talking about the root cause of why certain people are gay or not, right? That wasn't the conversation. The conversation is Snoop Dogg having a reaction to bringing his grandson to a movie that had this particular scene. Simple. Everybody had their perspective. My perspective was, sure, we know this is becoming a part of our society, but we also know people lean into their conservative nature to where they say, okay, there's certain things I just personally don't want to talk about. I don't want it talked about, period, because I don't agree, disagree, whatever the case may be. Rather than censor, meaning limit, meaning remove it, this is what I said. Why not meet in the middle and say there is a disclaimer? Why disclaim? Why we gotta do that? That's what it was. So
I
it's like
agree.
there is
I need to
why can
know if
there
it's
not
two
be a
bitches on my
middle?
Well,
screen.
they need to put a disclaimer for midgets too, goddamn it, since all of
Sure.
them.
Wake it
Listen,
up,
I don't
Sonny.
Fuck
know
it.
why you said that, Sonny, but I feel attacked. And I don't like feeling
I thought
attacked.
it was for Jonay.
I don't. Oh, okay, my bad. I
She the
jumped in front of a
midget.
bullet.
Yeah, Sonny, I don't like when
Jumped
you
in
put
front of a
Excuse
bullet.
me?
midgets. It's not funny.
My bad.
And I hate
So,
that.
I
Jonay, your role in
I
Snow
love
White is
midgets.
I thought that
canceled.
was to be
Fuck it. All right.
nasty. Putting disclaimers on midgets. Listen, we got to be more inclusive. I think that is where we're at in this world, and where we have to be more inclusive. There are gay people out here.
No.
Things. I,
See, that's the problem. Them kids that used to be up in that classroom with five people, now they out walking and talking amongst everybody else. No.
That's my
Lock them
problem
up.
with the
hold on,
gay
wait. You
people
said that
too.
there.
Question mark.
You said the people in the classroom with 5 people, and they out here
It
walking
was
and
people
talking.
in the classroom with five people in it. Now they out here walking on spaces, talking amongst
We
us.
should be
Lock
putting
them
them in
up.
rooms.
We
I
done
need to
normalized
know
too
who
much
is who.
bullshit. She said no.
No, ain't
Separate
no,
them.
I don't like inclusiveness. Let's segregate. I don't care. Wake it
And
up.
magic is witchcraft.
Give me the red hat.
Listen, listen. The grandmas that said Harry Potter was witchcraft. Amen. Listen,
I
God bless them.
definitely had one of those. I had to sneak
God
to
bless
read
them.
Harry Potter.
I feel sorry. I feel sorry for y'all.
Nah, they said Yu-Gi-Oh was
And,
witchcraft too. They was
I
wilding.
can't no,
and
no Harry
foosball
Potter
is the
or
devil.
Twilight. I was
Listen, I feel sorry for y'all
Foosball
at
that
my
didn't
home.
get Harry
is
Potter in
funny as crazy.
theaters. That was a great series. I wish my kids was able to experience Harry Potter in theaters like I did. I watched every one of them.
Yeah,
If I had a
same.
parent that said it was witchcraft, I don't know how my life would have turned out. It was very impactful, and I definitely appreciated it. Y'all are something else today.
You be a conservative.
Huh? Listen, I don't want to. We don't want to use conservative word around here. That's a trigger word, apparently.